Joining me now is Montana Congressman Ryan Zinke, a member of the House Appropriations and Foreign Affairs Committees. He's also a member of the Joint Commission on China. Congressman, it's good to see you. So you're on the you're on the Select Committee on China. You are on the Foreign Affairs Committee. Have you been given any briefings about what these drones are above us?
No, we really haven't. And what's stunning is that this administration has lost all credibility. And when you start out lying about the drone and the drone now, and you lie about the Chinese balloon before, and then you lie about Afghanistan, then you lie about Hunter Biden's backpack and laptop, well, you look at that, a series of lies, there's no credibility. And when Admiral Kirby gets up and says, well, we don't know if it's a foreign adversary or not, what he really means is we don't have any clue or we're not going to tell you.
Well, I mean, how is that possible that they don't have any clue? I mean, I just don't believe that they don't know. Is it that they know that these are drones that are conducting surveillance from China, but they know that once they admit that, the next question is, what will you do about it? And they don't want to do anything about it?
Well, it's frustrating because at one time it says, we don't have any evidence it's foreign activity. We don't have any evidence that it represents a national threat. Well, they don't have any evidence at the contrary either. Look, if they don't know, tell them they don't know, and get forces out there to make sure. Look, we have radar, so we certainly have the capability. But when you do the deer in the headlights and then you give misinformation about it, of course we're upset. You know, as a lawmaker, we just want answers, like the American public does.
Do you think you'll get any answers?
Well, we're going to drive to it. You know, it's hard to get answers on the Chinese balloon. You look at that series, right? It took days. It almost took weeks. On that. And of course, you know, the laptop with Hunter Biden. Again, I think the point of this is that the administration has lost credibility.
I mean, has President Trump said anything about this?
He is not, to my knowledge. No doubt he is looking at it. And he's got a great transition team. And we should look at it. But you know, until the power transfer has been completed, there's not much the Trump administration can do.
But I'm just wondering, I mean, if you don't know what it is, and there have been 100 sightings, and you see that there are drones above you, and you're told that these things are the size of cars, I mean, if you don't know, and it's in your airspace, shouldn't the first move be to shoot it down so that you could actually investigate what it is?
Well, there's no doubt that some of the sightings are probably manned aircraft. There's a lot of hype, a lot of cameras in the air. But yes, you know, the FAA certainly has capability to monitor our airspace, the national airspace, if necessary, which is probably this time. You know, move some higher grade technology over to make sure we look at what's in there. I wouldn't advocate shooting it down unless we know what it was and identify the target. But we need to figure it out, and the public deserves to know. I mean, this is not the first date, I think, was, what, 2 weeks ago? Yeah. And so this has been a long story brewing, but there's no action on the administration. And look, we deserve an answer. It's over the sky. It's making people nervous, as it should.
All right, let me switch gears and ask you about the other issue brewing, and that is government funding. We're just a week away from possible shutdown on December 20th. House Speaker Mike Johnson expected to talk about reconciliation packages with President Trump tomorrow at the Army-Navy football game. We've been reporting for weeks that congressional leadership wants two reconciliation packages, one bill on the border and energy and defense at the beginning of the new year, and then a separate reconciliation package, which will include tax extensions at the end of the year. I've spoken with many lawmakers about this. Watch this.
I would bet that we're going to see two reconciliation packages.
We're going to do border. We're going to do energy policy. We're going to do tax. And we're going to get it all done. You know, we've been hearing numbers are at $100 billion to secure the border and also fund what needs to happen to deport the criminals.
Tax needs to be in the first reconciliation. You need a reconciliation bill that has border, energy, permitting, and tax. Congress has not passed two reconciliation bills into law since 1997. It is harder to pass bills in the House than it is in the Senate.
Is there a risk that a second reconciliation bill doesn't happen at the end of the year?
Absolutely.
You do want to get maybe even three, because we can do that with the 3 fiscal years, because we're kicking the CR in the next year. We can do even three over the 2-year Congress.
So what about that, Congressman? Where are you on this debate, Ryan Zinke? Do you want to do tax extensions sooner, or are you in step with the plan to put that last next year?
Well, ironic. We have, 221 members in the House, and I say that because Donald Trump is in the House. I think the House will do exactly what Donald Trump calls for. Number one, he's on the mark and saying, look, America First agenda, we're going to do tax, we're going to do border, we're going to do debt, and so we're going to do that. And the order and sequence and the length, I think a lot of it, quite frankly, is determined by this president. It seems like we're waiting to see on the continuing resolution how far does it go into January, does it go into February, does it go into March? We're waiting because I think that President Trump hasn't made the decision yet, and when he does, Congress will follow.
All right, Congressman, we'll be watching all of that. Great to see you this morning. Thank you, sir.
Always great to be with you, Maria. Merry Christmas.
Great. Merry Christmas. Ryan Zinke joining us. Stay with us. We'll be right back.